are out here doing the absolute most with a Tootsie Roll looking baby. Are you serious right now? You cannot be serious. You can't. Boy, if you don't take several seats with your Tootsie Roll baby looking self, I cannot. Anyway, for those who do not know or did not know, Cassie gave birth to a healthy baby boy. And so, congratulations to Cassie. There is one thing I would like to clear up real quick, and that is me laughing during these videos, especially the Diddy trial, the Diddy trial. I want to make myself clear that I am not, I repeat, I am not laughing at the situation or any of the victims. I know many don't know me, just found my channel, don't know my personality, nor do they know my story or actually how we do things on this channel. But if you do or did know my story, you know that I don't find any of this funny. Porsche. And he also believes that Diddy broke into his Hollywood home after finding out that Cassie and him were dating. So, let's talk about it. So, Kid Cudi told the courts that he started dating Cassie around 2011, and in December of that year, Cassie told him that Diddy found out about the two dating. And then that same day, Kid Cudi got a call from a Diddy employee who told him that Diddy was at his home. So of course, he rushed home, and on his way home, he actually called Diddy. And the conversation went something like this. Kid Cudi, I said, mother effer, you in my house? And Diddy was like, what's up? Why can I picture Diddy talking about what's up? I don't know. And then Kid Cudi was like, mother effer, are you in my house? And Diddy said, I just want to talk to you. Kid Cudi was like, I'm on my way over there right now. Diddy was like, I'm here. I don't know why Diddy's response is funny to me. This is the bitch assness I'm talking about. I can't. When Kid Cudi got home, no one was actually there, but he did say that his security cameras had been moved because he knows exactly what angle he likes his cameras to be at. Then, inside his house, there were gifts that he got from Chanel that were for his family and friends. They've all been opened on the kitchen counter. Diddy, so you mean to tell me you out here opening up people's gifts? Is it me or can anyone else just see Diddy in the kitchen counter just opening up gifts to see how cheap maybe Kid Cudi is? Or look, and then Kid Cudi's dog that was able to roam freely in the house was suddenly locked in the bathroom. Then, now that was in December 2011. The next month, in January 2012, his dog watcher called him to tell him that his Porsche was on fire. Then the jury was shown the pics of the burnt car. He did make a report, and that investigator is supposed to be taking a stand, which we'll talk about a little later. So Kid Cudi explained that it looked like the top of his car So what I mean by that is, Cassie was dating Kid Cudi and Diddy. So Kid Cudi thought that she was completely done with Diddy, but she wasn't, and Diddy thought that Cassie was not seeing anybody else. So the two were, I guess, maybe both kind of getting played. I don't know. So no one really knew who was dating who. He said that they shook hands at the end. And then before leaving, Cudi did ask Diddy, "What about my car?" And Diddy responded, "I don't know what you're talking about." Then he testified that he thought that Diddy was lying. Then 3 years later, in 2015, he runs into Diddy again at the Soho Club. He said Diddy pulled up beside him and apologized for everything that happened. Cudi said he made peace with it because he did not think he would ever get any kind of apology from Diddy, and that he just moved on. He then went on to Instagram after his court testimony and thanked his fans and people for supporting him. And he's glad that this whole court thing is done and that he's about to just move on with life. During that testimony, though, we also do find out that Cassie was the one who gave Diddy Kid Cudi's address. Diddy denied any involvement of blowing up the car, setting the car on fire, or anything else, because even when he got that apology, he just sucked it up to whatever, but let me make myself clear, very, 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 very clear. When I say blow up his car, this is not like a Fast and Furious scene. This is not like a Godfather blowing up scene. This is not waiting to exhale, blow up car scene. For years we've been hearing this blow up car, and it was nothing like that. Again, the top of the car was cut, and someone threw a little makeshift, bomb, and I think the dashboard, the car door, things like that were torched, but nothing blew up, nothing went like I thought until I saw the pictures. And so, but it's still considered a felony arson, and they are trying to tie this whole situation to racketeering, and they're trying to prove that this is how Diddy was able to control a lot of things with threats and this and that type of situation. So in cross-examination, Diddy's team turned to the jury and basically said, look, Cassie is not innocent. She was the one that was bringing the toxic relationship, because she also, played Diddy as well. And when I heard that, I said to myself, are they really talking about who played who? Because Diddy has never been faithful. But whatever. They also pointed out that since she testified about an incident at a hotel in 2010 where she saw Cassie right after Diddy had beaten her up. I mean, I'm not gonna go deep into the story because I think by now we understand the abuse that Cassie has endured. But she did testify in that 2010 incident that Cassie was left with knots on her head, a black eye, and a busted lip. And we will just leave it at that. She did say, though, that after the incident, she did allow Cassie to stay at her home for a few days after that. And that was that. Then we had a hotel manager in Beverly Hills. Again, he just testified to what happened or happens after one of Diddy's freak-offs or one of Diddy's hotel stays. The jury saw a note from Diddy's records at the hotel, and from one of the notes, it read the following: always spills candle wax on everything and uses excessive amounts of baby oil. They placed the room out of order upon departure for a deep cleaning. So basically, after Diddy and his crew come through, that room cannot be used because they need a serious deep cleaning. So now we are now into day 10 and 11. Okay, so we have Capricorn Clark, who was Diddy's personal assistant. So she alleged through tears. There was a lot of boo-hooing on the stand from Capricorn Clark, and honestly, reading her testimony, I felt bad for her. I did. But she alleged through tears that Diddy kidnapped her and threatened to unalive her multiple times while she worked for him. This is really, really interesting. Yeah. And so Clark, who worked for Combs for Diddy between 2004 and 2012, said she was once accused of stealing 3 pieces of jewelry while working as his assistant. Diddy's bodyguard, Paul Offord, known as Uncle Paulie, searched Clark's house but did not find anything. The next day, Uncle Paulie took her to a building in New York that would soon become the corporate office for Bad Boy Worldwide, Diddy's corporation, but at the time it was unfinished. She explained she was met by a very wide, very heavy man whom she described as 5 of her. She said the man was smoking cigarettes and drinking black coffee. Clark was told that she was brought there to take a lie detector test. Quote, if you fail this test, they're gonna throw you in the East River, the man said. She explained that she was terrified, petrified, and was afraid of what would happen if she did not pass the test. Now that fear must have been real because everyone knows, well, I think that lie detector tests really go off nerves, in my opinion. You know, if you're nervous or whatever, you know, your heart rate, everything will speed up. And the fact that she's completely terrified test, but the results were inconclusive. You're gonna be in the East River if I cannot get a good reading on this, Clark recalled the man saying over and over and over again. She was having a hard time calming down, and the door to the room was locked from the outside. For 5 days, she was tested about the incident. At the end of each day, the security guard took her home before bringing her back to the building in the morning. She was told she could not leave until they get to the bottom of this. I was just trying to survive, Clark told the court. Then Clark alleged that Diddy once showed up at her apartment unannounced with a gun and said, "We're going to unalive Kid Cudi." This occurred in December 2011 when Cassie was romantically involved with Kid Cudi. Clark testified that around 5:30 she heard a loud banging on the door of her Los Angeles apartment and looked through the peephole to see Diddy pacing outside. I can actually see Diddy huffing and puffing outside, just pacing. He was furious, Clark said. Then Diddy allegedly entered Clark's apartment shouting, "Why didn't you tell me?" And who is Scott? Now, Scott is Kid Cudi's first name. And this is after he found out that Cassie was dating him. He then allegedly told Clark to get dressed because we're going to unalive this man. "I've never seen anything like this," Clark said, explaining that Diddy had never shown up at her apartment unannounced, and she had never seen him carrying any type of weapon. They got into the Escalade SUV with Diddy's security guard known as Ruben driving. They arrived at Kid Cudi's house. Diddy and Ruben went inside while Clark stayed in the car. Clark said she called Cassie's burner phone and told her that Diddy had brought her to Kid Cudi's house to unalive him. And remember, Cassie did testify earlier that she purchased this burner phone to hide her relationship from Diddy. Diddy got back in the car and asked Clark who the fuck she was on the phone with. He was livid, more so than already. After the alleged incident with Kid Cudi, Clark and Diddy calmed down. Clark said Diddy calmed down and told her to call Cassie. She told Cassie that Diddy was not going to let her go until Cassie came back to Diddy. said, he kept repeating, I should unalive you, I should unalive you, I should cut her face, you know. Now, in the cross-examination, Diddy's team, the defense team, did find some discrepancies in Clark's story. However, for me, it was minor, like little things like, did you call Cassie before or after 5:30? You know, well, if it was 5:40, sorry. It was like little indiscrepancies like that. Nothing really, mind-blowing. And anything and anyone that has been traumatized or was in fear of their life could get these little minor details wrong. And so, but one thing that the defense team did say is they were like, wait a minute. Now, Diddy, as you sat here, did all of this, and you were scared for your life, and he was a bad man, and he kidnapped you, and you witnessed this, everything you just testified, then why is it that you wanted to work with Diddy again as early as of last year, 2024? So, she was terminated in 2012, and she alleged that she was terminated because she finally took a vacation. Then, when they asked her, where did you go on vacation? She responded, I was in South France with Rihanna. I hit that shit. So the defense was trying to paint this picture like she had a really good lifestyle, and she wanted that lifestyle back, and that's the only reason why she's on the stand today. Now, they did show the email about this conversation about her going on vacation and how pissed off Diddy actually was. After she was terminated, she says that she was unable to find consistent good work. She alleged that Diddy had blackballed her. And then she tells a few stories on how she had legitimate job offers. And then, like, the day before she's about to start, something happened. They backed out. The contract wasn't valid, or on one occasion, the person ended up dying. Take that how you want it. And so this is when we found out that she was actually taking legal action against Diddy, a civil suit against Diddy. But then she was getting threatening messages, people telling her or warning her that she should drop all of this Diddy nonsense, and all of this stuff came from Diddy's camp. They were like, it won't be good for you, just leave it alone, what are you doing? Just kind of making her uneasy or uncomfortable about her decision. So then Diddy's legal team was trying to prove that Diddy had nothing to do with her not finding work. They were like, maybe she just sucked. And there is actually no proof that Diddy blackballed her or had anything to do with her not getting hired. And then Diddy's legal team showed a recommendation letter that Diddy wrote for her just as recent as 2021. So here they're trying to prove that if Diddy was trying to blackball her, then why would he write a fabulous recommendation letter to work in the industry? So she was like, let me see that. So they let her see it, and she looked at it, and then we find out, dun da da da, dun da da da, oh, Diddy's team tried it, oh, they tried it. Then we found out that this recommendation letter was not from 2021, So the settlement basically claimed that she was blackballed, that she could not find work. She was stressed out because of it, started losing her hair, just depression. Her home was taken. She wasn't able to provide for herself or for her son, who was autistic. She wanted her life back. So we do not know how much the settlement was for. As a matter of fact, they were trying to squeeze that out of her, but we don't know. But what we do know is that Diddy would pay her something as long as she basically kept his name out of her mouth. And she was the one who asked for the recommendation. So the settlement was like, yeah, give me my money. I won't mention you. You won't mention me. However, I also want this recommendation letter so I can actually work. And again, she knew how Diddy operated. Remember, she was the personal assistant, so she knew that Diddy could make one little phone call and everything would just like boop, just like that, right? So she knew. And honestly, for me, I don't even know, think that recommendation letter would do shit. Because, yeah, the recommendation letter would have given you an interview, but the moment that Diddy found out that somebody wanted to hire you, just would make one phone call and nobody would ever know. So anyway, the defense team was like, no, look at the bottom of it. Diddy signed it. She said, yeah, he signed it, but I'm the one who actually wrote the recommendation letter. He just took the piece of paper and signed it. He couldn't care less what was written on the recommendation page. You know why? Because Diddy knew no matter what this piece of paper said in recommendation, the moment he found out that somebody else wanted to work with her, one phone call. So he didn't care what she wrote in a recommendation letter. Why would he? So then they brought up a meeting that happened in April of 2024. This would have been after the raid happened. So the defense team was like, see, after all you just said, again, you're still trying to work with Diddy as of last year. You're trying to get back in good standards. Why would you want to work for a man that did everything you just testified to? She boldly admitted. She said, look, I needed money. I have an autistic child. And she understood that it was better to be an ally to Diddy than to be against him. She struggled so much since 2012. The meeting was allegedly about fixing things with Diddy's reputation and how they can reconstruct what was happening and get Diddy back on top. Think about it, right? Think about it. Who in the hell in their right mind will want a job like that? Cleaning up Diddy's image? Oh, hell no. Yeah. So anyway, Diddy's team was the one who reached out to her and asked her, but at this point, there's no saving it. So that was that. So up next, now we are into day 11. Deontay Nash. Now he is the celebrity stylist and a friend of Cassie. And so he testified about witnessing Diddy making threats Cassie's music career and threats about releasing sexual explicit videos of Cassie, sending them to her parents, employers. That's such a bitch move. The parents he recalled incidents where the stylist witnessed Diddy being violent towards Cassie. In one incident, Diddy hit and kicked Cassie until she hit her head and started bleeding. Diddy actually panicked after seeing the blood. Deontay testified. He also testified that Diddy was aggressive towards him personally, always popping him in the back of the head and always grabbed him by his shirt in one incident. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you better do this or else. Just very, you know. Then, in an incident in 2013 during a music video shoot, Diddy threw him on a parked car. They testified. He saw bruises on Cassie's body quite often, adding that he did not report the violence he witnessed for fear of retaliation. Then, on another occasion, he testified that Diddy searched his home looking for Cassie, leaving no stone unturned. He looked even in the oven. Diddy. And then he says, I don't know why he looked in the oven. The home search resulted in Diddy forcing they to take him to Cassie, who was actually at a nearby hotel, he testified. When he left that hotel, he noticed a car following him. The stylist said he feared his home was not safe and stayed elsewhere for the night. When he returned, some of his personal belongings were stolen. Then he also testified that Cassie would go to a hotel with Diddy weekly, saying he would often see her pack a black duffel bag with sex toys for the stays. He also mentioned that Cassie told him she did not want to go, but she did because Diddy wanted her to. He also recalled an incident in particular, which was Cassie's 29th birthday, when Diddy and Cassie argued, and Cassie told Diddy that they were arguing. Diddy was mad because Cassie was telling him that she did not want to go to the freak off. Like, it's my birthday, you know. She was like, I don't want to be with multiple men. I just want to chill out, you know. But that was a serious problem for Diddy. He also testified that Diddy smoked, you know, marijuana. He also said that he has seen Cassie take other particular stuff like Molly, ecstasy, inside her home, Diddy's house, and multiple other places. Then he also explained that one time he did try to jump on Diddy's back to stop him from assaulting Cassie because it was getting way out of control, more than normal. He also said that him and a woman by the name of Maya, also known as victim number 4, tried to jump on Diddy's back but were thrown off. He said that Diddy then went ahead to hit Cassie until she banged her head against the edge of the bed frame, causing her to bleed. And so position, and he stopped working for Diddy in 2018. He also said that he doesn't have any bad will really towards Diddy, because the fact that he really didn't do anything to him per se, just treated him like shit. But then he also did give credit for Diddy helping him start his career, and that's how he kind of left it. Now lastly, what we have to talk about is Lance. Mr. Lance. Now Lance Jimenez, he is the LA Fire Department investigator who responded to Kid Cudi's call about his car being set on fire. The jury again was shown the pictures of Kid Cudi's car. So he was telling us what he found when he came to the crime scene. He said there was a bottle that I guess contained like the gasoline or liquid for the makeshift bomb, but it was in a 40-ounce bottle of malt liquor, Old English 800. Basically a 40. If that's not the blackest, hoodest street thing I've ever heard this year. So just off of that, we all know Diddy has something to do with that shit. He also described that there was a fancy handkerchief used as the wick. Gasoline was inside the 40 bottle, like I mentioned, and there was a slit through the roof, the canvas of the Porsche car where the bottle had been dropped in from. And then he tells us about the fingerprints that had been discovered at Kid Cudi's house. So when Kid Cudi's house was broken into, he had his whole entire house fingerprinted. Swept for fingerprints. 2 prints that were lifted from the glass door. So let me just freeball this one. So from my understanding, there were prints lifted from the bottle inside Kid Cudi's car, and there were also prints lifted from his home. And that being said, apparently 2 fingerprints matched, identical to inside the house, to inside of Kid Cudi's car. Now, first I heard they matched, then I heard it was a partial, but it's still whoever broke into the house was the same person who dropped the makeshift into the car. So then we find out that the fingerprints of the 2 crime scenes mysteriously got destroyed, disappeared while in custody of the LAPD. And of course they asked, is this normal for evidence to go missing? And of course they were like, no. After all of this, Diddy's team was like, hold up to the judge, we now declare a mistrial, because Diddy's team felt as if the prosecution was trying to poison the jury by the prosecution saying that Diddy had this much power to maybe pay off the LAPD police department to get rid of evidence, and that would open up a whole big can of worms. And so the defense team was like, no, they're making this whole trial toxic. Judge, put enough to this. Let's do a mistrial, because